Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to talk about Peter again. Now, the last time we looked, Peter was dropping everything he had and followed Jesus. Now, I think everyone would say that's a really dedicated man. It took some powerful character to do that. I think I could do that. My experience tells me that I have done that in some degree, but I'm not sure how I would respond. But in any case, Peter indicates a strength there that a lot of people don't have. And that's a determination to follow Jesus for whatever. Well, today we want to look in Matthew chapter 14 and verse 25, and we find some more about this man, Peter. It reads this way. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came towards them, that's the disciples, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost." But Jesus spoke to them at once, saying, "Don't be afraid. Take courage, I'm here." So then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it is really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." Well, let me stop here a second. I don't know about you, but if I were on the water at 3 in the morning and I saw somebody come walking towards me on top of the water, I don't think my first thought would be, this guy is walking on water. I don't know what my first thought would be, but I have sympathy for the disciples. It scared the bejeebies out of them. And might have scared you too. But in any case, here they are. Jesus told them to go to the other side, so they're doing literally what he told them to do. He said, "I'll catch up to you." When he said that, I'm not real sure they really understood what that might mean. But now here he comes. And he's walking on the water, just trudging along, heading to the boat. Well, at that moment, it said they were afraid and they were scared. And they said, "It's a ghost." Well, you and I don't really believe in ghosts, probably in the same way that they did. Most of us have never had an encounter with a real ghost. In fact, many of you and me might question if there even is such a thing. But the disciples are afraid. And Jesus speaks out and he's on the way to the boat and he said, "Hey guys, calm down. It's just me. You don't need to get all upset about this." Well, now we see Peter. Peter, this incredible man of faith who walked away from his livelihood, from everything he'd known to follow Jesus, says, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." That seems like a reasonable comment to me. I don't know if I'd have thought to say it that way. Maybe you would have. But it seems reasonable to think, well, okay, Lord, if that's really you, then tell me to come join you. And it's interesting, Jesus says to Peter, "Okay, come on." Now, if you're one of the other disciples in that boat, what do you think you're going to be thinking? Are you going to be thinking, "Wow, this is really neat"? Or are you going to be thinking, We're going to see a miracle. Now you're probably thinking, what is Peter doing? This guy is an idiot. But nevertheless, Peter gets up, steps out of the boat, and sure enough, he starts walking on the water. Now, we don't know how far away from the boat Jesus was. Wouldn't have to be very far, really. Maybe a couple feet, maybe 10 feet. But he gets out there, and all of a sudden, he takes his eyes off of Jesus. I guess he forgot where he was going. And you know, you and I sometimes forget where we're going. Well, I don't mean it in a literal sense, though. Maybe you've done that, taken off with your car and said, where was I going? I know that I've gotten busy thinking and passed the road I was supposed to turn, and a half a mile down the road is, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? Oh, that's right there. I was supposed to turn back there. Sometimes we just get busy and lose our thoughts. And Peter got busy, but he got busy at doing the wrong thing. He got busy at worrying. He got busy at being afraid. He got busy at doing all the things Jesus had prior to this told him not to do. Now, if Jesus had helped Peter to get through the various miracles that he's done in his midst before, wouldn't it make sense that he's going to help him again? Is it so difficult to believe that Jesus is going to come through at this very minute? Well, evidently it was for Peter, because it says here that Peter started to sink. Let me read to you what it says. Peter went over the side of the boat and started walking on the water to Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. So he puts out this incredible prayer, maybe the most powerful prayer that's written in the Bible. He simply says, Lord, save me. Now, I don't think Peter understood swimming all that much. I don't think he knew about treading water. He certainly didn't understand about keeping focused on where he needs to go with the Lord. But as he sinks, here's what's important. As he sinks, doing the very thing Jesus said don't do, which is get his eyes on the waves. In the very midst of that, Jesus reaches out, grabs his hand, and lifts him back up. You see, even when we mess up like Peter and get our eyes off of Jesus, he's still right there waiting for the opportunity to pick us up. Sometimes in our stubbornness, we won't ask. Sometimes we just too naive to notice. But sometimes we figure it out. I'm in big trouble. And we ask God to help us. And he does. Regardless of what happens to you today, Jesus is still there. And he's going to be there all the days, this Thursday and Friday, and all the days of your life. It works. Believe me, I've been there. Well, you think about it, and I hope you have a really great day. If you have a need or a concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow and share a little bit more about this man called Peter.